The Bureau of Labor Statistics uses something called the Consumer Price Index to figure out what's going on with prices. So what it does is it measures the average price of a market basket of goods and services purchased by a typical urban consumer over time. So there's 8 major things in this basket of goods. So what the Bureau of Labor Statistics does is they infrequently survey um, urban consumers and say, hey, what is it that you're buying? And so they break that down into 8 groups: food and beverages like pizza, housing, so anything that you would buy for your house, like furniture, apparel, if you buy socks, shirts, clothes, whatever, transportation, if you take the bus, you take an Uber, you take an airplane, medical care, so whenever you go to the doctor, that's going to count under medical care. If you recreation, so if you got tickets to a Taylor Swift concert, that's under recreation. Education and communication, when you're taking classes, that's under education and communication. And then pretty much anything that doesn't fit anywhere else goes in other goods and services. So for example, if you got a haircut, that would go in other goods and services. So when they calculate the CPI, what they're going to do is they're going to go year by year and they're going to keep the things in the basket the same. So that everything in the basket that's going to stay the same. And then we're going to measure it by the price in each year. So in our example here, in the first year, let's say we have in the basket, we're always going to have 10 pizzas, 15 burgers, and 30 tacos. Okay, so in the first year, if pizza costs $11, we're going to take 11 times the number of pizzas, which is 10, to get 110. And burgers, if they're each $12 and we buy 15, we're going to do 12 times 15, which is 180. And then tacos, if they're $5 each, we're going to do 5 times the number of 30, so that's going to be 150. So if we then add those three together, the 110, 180, and 150, we're going to say the basket costs $440. So that would be year one. So then if we go to year two, again, we're going to keep the same stuff in the basket, the same goods in the basket. So pizza, burgers, and tacos stay the same number. So now we're going to multiply the new price in year two is $12 for pizzas. So 12 times the 10 is 120. Now if burgers went up to $14, so we do 14 times the number of burgers, which is 15, which gives us 210. And then tacos went up to $6, so now the 6 times 30 is 180. We add all those together, we get $510 is how much the basket costs in year two. And then we do the same thing for year three. So we would do the new price of pizza, 14 times 10, the new price of burgers, 15 times 15, and then the new price of tacos, which is 7, so 7 times 30. We add all that together, 140 plus 225 plus 210, we get 575. So you can see the cost of the basket is increasing each year. So then what we can do to get the CPI is if we're using year one as a base year, so we have to pick a year for a base year. Doesn't really matter which year we pick, just we have to pick one. So to figure out the CPI, we're going to take the cost in the current year divided by the cost in the base year. So, and then we're going to multiply that by 100. So the base year is always going to be 100 because we're going to take the current year, which is 440, divide that by the base year, since the base year is the same year, we're going to get 440 divided by 440 times 100. So the CPI in the base year is 100. So in the second year, we're going to take the cost of the basket, which is 510. We're going to divide by the base year at 440. We're going to multiply that by 100. We're going to get 115.9. And then in the final year, we calculated the cost of the basket at 575. We're going to again divide that by the base year, and that's going to multiply by 100. That's going to give us 130.7. So that's how we would calculate the CPI given the costs of the baskets of goods.